But I kept thinking, what can they do to me? Send me to Vietnam? So all three of us kept our word, and we all showed up 2 weeks late. So I remember going in to check in. There was this little black girl, and she's looking at my folder, and she said, "Oh, you're 2 weeks late." I said, "Oh, here it comes." And I said, "Yes, I am." She just went right by that and left it alone. So I ran into the other two guys. One of them was busted back to private. They wrote the other one up in Article 15. So I'm thinking, now, was this good luck or bad luck? I'm now still going to Vietnam as a sergeant, and I don't know if that was the smartest thing for me or not. You know, I'd probably been better to have been, you know, just a private again and carry the radio or walk point. So anyway, I go to Vietnam, and like y'all say, there was good and there was bad. The good was I met you guys. When I got there, I remember they said, "Forget everything you learned." They did.
Yeah.
Well, that scared the hell out of me. I said, okay, if I have to forget everything I've learned, now I know nothing. I'm going to go out and I'm going to lead a platoon and I know nothing. Well, somehow, some way we got through it. And my philosophy, and everybody that knew that came out that I dealt with, I always told them the same thing. My goal is only one thing, to get you home alive. And as far as I recall, I never lost a man in my squad. Some got hurt, but nobody ever got killed. But that's by the grace of God, nothing I did. But anyway, you know, fortunately we got home, which I'm very grateful for. When I got back, I met my wife, who's my wife then, and she's made these last 38 years very bearable. Probably longer than that, because I knew her before we got married, naturally. And here I am today, and hopefully Lynn will do this again. Let me tell you something. I don't know about you, when I left Vietnam, I really didn't think about it very much. It just wasn't my mainstay. I just kind of went on with life, and every now and then somebody would ask me, but I wouldn't talk. Not that I didn't want to share it, but I'll be honest with you, I didn't think anyone was really interested in it. I thought they asked to be nice. So then the computer age came in. Now, anybody knows me, the brightest thing I can do is hit the on button, right, Gail?
And download viruses.
And download viruses. That's from doing all these I only did it out of curiosity. Anyway, I sat there and I typed in Americal. And then there's a thing on there where people send messages. So I'm just kind of floating through it. And I run down, and there's this guy. He says, "I'm looking for this guy." He says, "I think he was my sergeant uncle." Of course, he spelled it wrong, UNCLE. But I knew that, and it was Lynn. Now the problem with the note was, it was over 2 years old. I don't know how I did it. I don't know if your address was okay. Yeah. At any rate, I wrote him a letter. Well, he had moved from Arizona, had been gone for years, so he never got the letter. And there were 2 other people I wrote on there. I never heard, and I thought, well, they probably remember who it was, and they don't want to talk to me. At any rate, that's how we kind of got together, and I think that kind of, and God love Shane. I mean, he kind of helped pull all this together too, and it's just been great seeing you all again. So, yeah. Thank you all.
Phones don't want to work. My name is Glenn Mosley. I live in South Alabama, and I was in the 2nd platoon. And this is my wife Frances, and we're both retired. Our daughter lives in Montgomery, and our son lives in Nashville. We kind of travel all the time, seeing our grandchildren. And I went to Vietnam in December of '69, and I went to the field on Christmas Day of 1969. I remember I asked the first sergeant, "Sergeant, you're not going to send me to the field on Christmas Day?" He said, "You see that helicopter pad right out there? Get your gear and get on it." I said, "I did." And it landed, and there was this guy dressed up. I think it was somebody from back in the Rio, I don't remember. But he had a Santa Claus suit on. I got off and I'm like, where in the world have I landed? I didn't have a Santa Claus suit on. And
That was Schwarzkopf.
it must have been. I was so taken back, and I'm like, man, what? I was beginning to think there wasn't no fighting going on. But I'm like most of you. We had it made. When we was in the pocket. We wasn't much to do there except just roam around and hunt the enemy. Never found them very much. Just every once in a while, but it was a different story once we left there and went down to My Lai. We lost a lot of men down there, a lot of men hurt. I know sometime that year, some of you guys that was in the second platoon, we lost a whole platoon out on the peninsula. There was only 4 or 5 of us that didn't get hurt. It was, Ken Mew, Wright. It was a bunch of them that got hurt. Never heard from any of them, and then you didn't never know who lived or who died, and didn't know that Tom Nowalk, didn't know he lived because I was there when he lost both his legs, and matter of fact, I was standing 3 feet from him when that booby trap went off, and it was just the grace of God that it wasn't a shrapnel. It would have probably killed 4 or 5, and I remember him crying and saying his family and his wife wasn't going to love him anymore because he about lost both his legs, and these things you remember over the years. It just every once in a while I just sit down and have a pity party. Think about them that didn't make it. And thank the Lord that I was one of them that did, along with you guys. And when I come back, I went to Fort Hood, Texas, and was in the 75th Rangers there and stayed there for 9 months, and got out and went back home. And my wife was about 8 months pregnant when we got out, and they tried to get me to extend, and I'm like, nope, not even one day. You may send me back to Vietnam. So I wouldn't extend, and I stayed out a few years, and then one of my brother-in-law's brother talked me into getting in reserves, and I said, don't want nothing to do with it, no way, shape, nor form. So he said, well, I tell you what, just go to a drill or two and just see how you like it, and I said, okay, I'll do that, but I ain't promising anything. So I did, and I went, and after a couple of drills, I said, I think I could do this. It's pretty easy, and they're going to pay you too. So I did, and that was 1977. I stayed in my 20 years, and I broke a record. I got in as E5, and 20 years later, I got out as E5. I wanted to know, man, what is the problem? I mean, I've been in 10 years, I ought to be able to get a rank. And he said, you play too much golf. That's all I did was play golf. They couldn't keep up with me. They tried to, later on they tried to give me E6, and I wouldn't take it because I knew I wasn't going to get to play golf. So I owned my own business during the years, and I'd leave my men working, and I'd head to the golf course. I spent 5 or 6 days a week on the golf course, and I still do today. I spend 5 or 6 Well, I told one of my friends not long ago, she was talking about going on a vacation, and it didn't have anything to do with golf. I said, man, a vacation is not a vacation if you ain't got your golf course. I'm going on vacation if I have a golf course. It's fun talking to guys, and that was in Vietnam, and just. I touched bases with Lynn back almost 20 years ago, way back. Just trying to find guys I was in Vietnam with, and a lot of them that I thought was dead that wasn't. And for instance, I went to Washington back around 2000, and then that's when I found out that all those guys weren't dead. Because a lot of them left there looking like they were dead or they were going to die. But they made it. Just like, so that got me to start hunting them then, and then that's over the years. And I was planning on coming last year, but I'd had back surgery just a couple of months before then, and couldn't come. And there were some guys there that I really wanted to see. The guys that was in my squad was there last year, and I wanted to see some of them. But there'll be other times they'll show up eventually, I guess, like everybody does. I wouldn't give anything for my. It's amazing how that it changes your life. You know, my life has not been the same since Vietnam. It's changed me in so many ways that, you know, you just can't imagine. You know, you sit down and think about it, you know, well, I wouldn't be here, I wouldn't be doing this, and so forth and so on. You know, I learned how to play golf from, there was a guy in the second platoon named Mike Mulvane. I don't know if any of you guys remember him. We were back at, or what do you call it back? Stand down. He broke his arm, and he was back there for 5 or 6 weeks, and that's when we left the pocket and went down there, and every 3 or 4 days we were sending wounded back there. I mean, just like clockwork. Well, Mike got scared and he re-upped. He found out he could re-up and get his MOS changed and get to go home for 30 days. Well, somehow or another, we ended up in Fort Hood, Texas together, and he was a golfer. He played golf in high school, and he asked me about going out and playing golf with him one day, and I'm like, man, I'm from South Alabama. Oh, I've never even heard the game before, you know what I'm saying? We went out and I played, and I liked it, and been playing ever since. So. And I thank you.